Jar Jar Binks. You are listening to Behind the Lens.
And yes, you are listening to Behind the Lens. Welcome back to yet another edition. We are now, midway through July. And Brian is here today. He came today. You're here, aren't you? Are you there?
I am here. Hello? Can you hear
Hello.
me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear myself.
I can't. So, before we jump into the show, and anybody that's been following, our very special guest today live at the midway point is the one and only MARILU HENNER. I'm very excited to have MARILU as a guest today. But D23 just happened over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Were you following it, Brian?
I was following it. I never want to go to those events just because they're kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I did follow a lot of the news coming out of there, predominantly the Star Wars news that was coming out. We finally have a year that there's a completion date for Star Wars Land. We had been hearing rumors that it'd be sometime in the middle of this year, and I always thought,
2019.
I always thought that was a little too optimistic because that's a lot of construction that they still have to do. But 2019 is when it's going to open up.
Yes.
But staying with Disneyland news, today is the first day that we get Fantasmic or the water show. Phantasma back.
Yeah.
Today's the first day that's coming back in Disneyland, as well as the railroads are opening up next week.
Very nice.
Which I have been waiting for the past 2 years.
Well, yeah. Once the railroads open up, I'll go back.
Oh, yeah. That is, I mean, we have a mutual love for those railroads. Just not even a thing of just getting around the park, but that's how I used to love ending my days at Disneyland. It's just sitting on the train and riding it around the park. Yep. And then I remember the first time I did that, I was completely taken aback by the Grand Canyon scenes. I didn't know that was at the end of the train ride when they take you through.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
And so when we were approaching that dark corridor, and then there were like those zoo-like displays on the side, I was just so enamored with that. And it's been so long since I've been on that I'm just super excited to go back to Disneyland and catch that.
Well, and I'm curious to see if they've upgraded.
You know what? A part of me hopes
any of those dioramas.
Yeah, a part of me hopes that they didn't. I hope not. I hope they're still cheesy looking. Because I love that. There's no other way of enjoying that. I mean, you're going by so fast.
I hate to say it, but I would never use the word cheesy to describe anything Disney.
Oh, it's cheesy. And it's the only thing that they do that's cheesy. Everything else is magic. I think in that one, it's meant to look that way to entertain the kids that are on the train.
But but it's not cheesy. Consider when those were made and the technology at the time. I mean, that is original diorama from 1955.
Oh, yeah. That's why I hope they don't touch it.
Yeah.
I absolutely enjoy it. And today is actually, or is it today? I think it is today, the day that Disneyland opened its doors 62 years ago.
Yep. July 17th, 1955.
Yep. So we're 62 years into those dioramas being there.
That's, yes. But yes, as I was saying, very thrilled to have MARILU HENNER joining us live. Originally, Ed Begley Jr. was going to join us too, but he actually is out shooting today. So Ed will be with us next week. But MARILU and Ed are both co-starring in a new film called Imperfections from writer-director David Singer. And we're going to talk all about that film with MARILU at the midway point. But before then, there is another film that's opening this Friday. Called Landline. Landline is co-written Gillian Robespierre and Elizabeth Holm and directed by Gillian. Stars Jenny Slate, John Turturro, Edie Falco, and relative newcomer Abby Quinn. I sat down and did interviews with Gillian and Elizabeth the other day. I've done so many interviews in the past with Jenny Slate that I did not want to hog her time and opted to speak with Abby Quinn, and I am so glad I did. She is a breath of fresh air. Her effervescence, her ebullience, she loves the film. She loves the craft of acting, and it was a real joy to sit down with her. The story, basically, it's set in 1995, and it's a family that their only means of communication really, that's the day of landlines. There weren't cell phones, there were landlines. And one of the worst punishments that a teenager could ever get would be to have their landline ripped out of their bedroom, which is one of the things that happens to Abby's character of Allie. Jenny Slate's character, she's the older sister. She's engaged. Her fiancé is played by none other than Jay Duplass. But she has her own issues going on. And then mom and dad kind of don't communicate. everybody has their own thing going on. But it's a very interesting analysis at human interaction and engagement within a family, complete with sibling bickering, parent-child bickering, husband-wife bickering. Feels really normal. Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Really normal. And the detail of the production design by the fabulous Kelly McGehee, who does the majority of Oren Moverman's production design. Kelly has just recreated the time period in terms of apartments and a rave scenario. A lot of detail and thought went into this and makes it for a most enjoyable and entertaining film. But my interview with Abby was so entertaining, and as I said, her exuberance is just overflowing. So I wanted all you to hear our complete interview. So here it is. It's about 20 minutes. Abby Quinn, who plays Allie in Landline.
I just got a Twitter, so I'm open for anyone tweeting at me. No one has yet.
Trust me, people are going to tweet at you. After they see this film, you are brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much.
And you'll laugh because it's like I've interviewed Jenny in the past.
Yes.
And when I put it for the press day, they said, well, who do you want to talk to? I said, I want Abby.
No.
They said, do you want Jenny? I said, no, I want Abby.
You're kidding.
I kid you not.
What? That's crazy.
I kid you not.
Oh, my God. Well, thank you.
Your performance is so authentic, so genuine, and you blew me away with what you brought to Allie.
Thank you. That's so nice.
And it's even more amazing because you weren't even born in 1995.
No. I was born in 1996. So,
yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't feel like, I don't know, I know it's based in the 90s, but I think a lot of it that helps with that is like the costumes and the sets. But reading the script, I wasn't like, oh, this is clearly based in a different era. Except for the music references. I didn't know, or I'd heard of them, but I hadn't really listened to a lot of them. But yeah, I think it could be, hopefully the script could be like in any time period, or current, and it would work.
I told Gillian, I interviewed her and Elizabeth earlier, and I told them that's one of the beautiful things about this film.
Yeah.
The timelessness of it.
Yeah.
It could be set in the it could be a story in the 30s.
It totally could be, yeah.
It could be a story today.
Yep.
Just take out all the electronics.
Right.
Don't let them come in.
Yeah.
But it could very easily. It could be an Amish community today.
I would love to see it in the 30s. And like she discovers letters or something instead of on the computer. That's cool. Maybe we can do a spin-off. That'd be cool.
But that's the beauty of the story.
Yeah.
So I can just imagine what you thought when you were reading the script.
Yeah, I was freaking out. I had seen Obvious Child like 2 weeks before, just randomly. I was like sitting in a coffee shop on Amazon, and I recognized Jenny Slate because I loved Jenny Slate like even before watching Obvious Child. So I immediately clicked on it and watched it, and then I got the audition like 2 weeks later. And yeah, I mean, like with anything, I think I get an audition and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go in for it, but that's it. Like, I'm not gonna get it. I don't think I've ever gone into anything like sure of it, no matter how much I like it or feel comfortable in the character. But specifically for this, I was like, that's just way too good. There's just something off about this. Like, they're gonna pick someone who, you know, is really famous or just someone completely different than I am. So not like any part of me thought that I was gonna get it, which is pretty amazing.
And then you did.
And then I did. But like 6 weeks went by after the audition, and then I went to a callback, and it was, I think the callback was the day before my birthday, and then I flew to one of my older brothers was living in Boulder at the time, and I flew there the next day on my birthday, and just for like 2 days straight, I would not stop talking about it, and I felt so annoying, but I was just like, you know, when you just bring up stuff, but there's nothing to say about it, I was like, yeah, I bet they're at dinner right now, like, they're all talking about it, like, it was just, I couldn't stop talking about it. I was like, well, I'm probably not gonna get it, you know. It was a weird way to spend my birthday, just like totally consumed with.
But then you got a post-birthday gift.
I did. Oh my God. I think I found out like a week after my birthday. It was just the best 3 months of my life. filming and auditioning, like everything. Yeah.
I mean, what I love, what you bring to Allie is there's this wise beyond her years, and we feel this maturity, and your interactions, especially with Edie, are just so resonant. I think that's another aspect of the film, that the mother-daughter conflicts have been since the beginning of time.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I was never, I think I'm pretty different from Allie. Like, I have a hard time with confrontation and, like, just with the smallest of things. Like, and same with my mom. So we, like, being together, we just end up laughing. Like, we're like, oh, we should, trying to come up with tactics of ways to deal with things that are not, like, the right, it takes months to get somewhere with us because we're, like, having to make sure everyone else is okay. So playing Allie, where it's like she can just stare at someone and, like, yell the C word at them, which I literally had never, I don't think I'd ever said it before, like, truly. I was like, oh, that's like and I swear, but I'm just like, that's a nasty word. Like, I just don't like that word. But I think between the mom and the daughter, it still feels like I'm really close with my mom, but we had, like, a rough patch when I was in high school, and it was bad. For some reason, I was getting my phone taken away all the time, and I just started dating someone, and that's, like, the reason I got my phone back, because I was like, Mom, he wants to drive me home, and I need my phone. Like, it was bad. I was like, he wants to text me, and I was actually texting him off of my friend's phone. Like, it was just so complicated and rough between us for, like, 2.5 years. But now I went to college for a year, and I think that separation between us, like, I would go back home and it was like that none of that happened, because I think beneath all of it there was a love, and it was just like we both love each other so much, but that gets brought out of anyone that's in a house with the 16-year-old who is, like, hormonal and wants nothing to do with you. So I got to draw upon, like, the experiences that I had in high school, which were not that long ago, and then also the way that we are now. And then on top of it, like, being a character who has no problem saying how she feels to anyone. Yeah. And it's just the vocal inflection that you bring. I'm serious. Yeah. I mean, I could hear disdain dripping from your voice in so many scenes. And I just thought that was fabulous. But to hear that come out of you at this, especially at this stage of your career. Yeah. I mean, that shows true talent, Abby. Thank you. That's hard to do. Thank you. It's hard to get the vocal intonations right. Yeah. I honestly don't know. I think it was, like, a really it's obviously in there somewhere for me, but I was, like, so untapped that as soon as I, like, found a way into the story and the character, it just kind of, like, came out of me, and I didn't really feel like, oh, sorry, someone came in. But yeah, I guess I didn't really have, like, a way of getting there. It was just sort of, like, understanding why I'm saying these things and who I am as the character. But yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And of course, we get to see you at a rave. Yeah. And I have to say, I mean, Chris shot that thing so beautifully. Yeah, he did. Yeah. But, that was, because I understand that you have done Irish dancing in your past. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. That's slightly different than what you were doing in a rave. Yes. Okay, so I Irish danced from, like, probably took my first class when I was 5, and then I quit when I was, like, 14. So I was doing it 3 days a week, 2 hours. So that was, like, it. You're a female Michael Flatley. Right. Well, I tried to be. I was, but, like, that's really, and still, like, I can dance, but it's weird. Like, now I can move my body, but I'm not, like, a cute dancer. I can't, like, get people to come to me with my dancing, but I dance. But in this like, for that scene, I was so nervous. I was like, Gillian, I can't dance. Like, I cannot look like I'm in a rave. It's just not going to happen. And so we literally, she just would come up to me, like, probably 6 times being like, Abby, why don't you just throw your arms in the air? So for like a whole take, I was just doing this. And I was like, oh my God. And there's so many people around. There are like 50 extras who are my age. And I'm like, this is horrifying. Like, this is, out of anything I have to do in this movie, like, I was literally the most uncomfortable in that scene because we had to keep doing it so many times because I just couldn't dance, which is like embarrassing.
Now, did it help because of the fact that Allie had her first experience with age? Mm-hmm. So that could account for.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, that's true, and I think like she's kind of like a badass, but I think there are parts of her that are doing things that she's just kind of like keeping up with an image, or my cool friend is doing this, so I'm gonna be here. But I don't think she feels totally comfortable, like, doing those things and being in that environment. So I guess I got to use that a little bit. Like, I wasn't supposed to be.
So, see, if anybody says anything about your dancing, it's like, I was acting.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be high, so I was acting.
I'm a really good dancer.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. You can blame anything on.
There you go.
Yeah.
You were getting into character.
Yeah.
That's your excuse.
Yeah.
How exciting was it for you? Because this was what, your first major?
Yes.
Your first major feature. Mm-hmm. And you're going through the process from the audition to getting the call to here you are on an indie film. Mm-hmm. You've got Edie Falco. You've got John Turturro as your parents. Uh-huh. You've got Jenny. And you've got the crew. I mean, you've got Chris Teague, who's an amazing cinematographer.
He's amazing.
Kelly, the production designer.
Yeah.
Kelly is... I love Kelly's work.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was stunning. Like, I walked into the bedroom the first time and just, like, my mind was blown. And that entire day, I don't even think we shot in there, but, like, in between each take, I was just going in, and it was so detailed. And, yeah, I, like, wasn't expecting that. Part of me was like, I bet half the wall is going to be blank because it's a movie and we're only shooting in my bed. Like, but it was like walking into a different world. Yeah, honestly, I left college to come out here, and when I first moved out here, I thought it was just going to be for a year, and that I was going to go back to college. And I was auditioning a bunch, but I didn't, I wasn't getting anything, and so this came at kind of like the end of that year when I thought I was going to go back to school. So, it was like a shock for me, and I think I was just shocked pretty much like throughout the whole process, and now it's hitting me because I'm talking about it, and I'm seeing it, and other people are seeing it. But for a long period of time, it was kind of like, wow, I had this amazing experience with these people that I have no idea how I was acting with John Turturro. Like, it blows my mind. And that Edie Falco was just, like, sitting next to me reading a newspaper in between takes, and I was like, there were many times when we would all be sitting in a room, the four of us, and I was like, I cannot, even if they're not talking to me right now, like, I can't be on my phone. I can't be reading a book, because then they're not going to be, I'm going to, like, close myself off to these people that I might never sit with again or, like, work with again. So it was a lot of that, just being, like, recognize where you are, because it's really easy to, at the end of this, feel like it was completely, like, got past me.
Did it feel like, kind of like, was it a great learning experience for you, just watching John and Edie and Jenny? Yeah. But, you get especially John and Edie, though. Yeah. Those veterans that have done drama, comedy.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah. It was. And they didn't have to say, like, I don't think with anyone there wasn't a specific lesson that they taught me. They didn't, like, sit me down and give me the rules of the business. It was more just, like, being in scenes with them and learning that way, but then also watching them when I wasn't in the scene. It's like when you watch a play, you're learning from everything. But now I get to see you guys do this like 15 times, and every time was different, and every time, because when you watch them, you don't really like have any doubt that they're that person or that they're actually feeling those things. And so to watch that, it was just like, man, it has to be different every time, and no matter how exhausting that is, it's gonna show if it's like, you know, just stale acting, and like the three of them are the opposite of that. So yeah, I just like,
but it made you up your game.
Oh, totally. I was like, but I feel like because I had the script for so long, And even when I didn't have the part, I was still thinking about it and like that character. So I kind of feel like I had a lot of things ingrained in me. And so for probably like the first week of shooting, I was relying on what I felt like I already knew, and I was just too nervous to like do anything outside of what I felt was right. But then I was like, everyone else is like, they're like interesting to watch because they're doing that and they're just having fun. And as stupid as, or like small as that sounds, it's really, to me, it's like, I don't know, the more rigid I am about acting or like anything in terms of a character, everything gets sucked out of it for me, and it's like it doesn't feel like anything's behind it. So yeah, they just kind of further instilled this freedom in acting, which I think is really important.
So did you find the technical aspect of the shoot fascinating for your first time?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I guess like the other stuff that I've worked on, I was in no way like as involved as I was in this. So I would get like little glimpses of things, but no one was really like telling me what was happening. But with this, yeah, it was like, it kind of blew my mind because I'm so used to doing theater and in like musical theater, just how long it takes to shoot a scene. And you really have to, I think that's like a muscle that you have to work, and that Edie and John and Jenny definitely have developed. It's like you have to just preserve some part of yourself throughout the day and just throughout that take or that scene, because you have to do it like maybe 20 times and it still has to be like
fresh and
which is crazy. It's like it's kind of mind-blowing that happens. It's like so immediate. And so that, I think, to me, it was just like, wow. It was like the inner workings of something that I had never seen before.
So all in all, you're just blown away by the whole experience of making this film.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's ever like gonna settle with me. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just like genuinely not freaked out, but I am just like still blown away that I was able to like be with these people and have a film that, because so many films are made, and no matter how proud of them, or no matter how much you love them, or want them to be seen by people, the reality is that they're not. So this, having such a good experience being with these people, and then the fact that it's actually going to be able to be seen by anyone, it's crazy. Like that's what I feel really lucky about now, just that I love what we did, and it could have very easily gone nowhere. So that's kind of like where I'm at now, just that people are going to be able to watch it is,
So now the big question.
Yes.
You got a sex scene in there. You're doing drugs.
Yeah.
You use the see you next Tuesday word. Has your family seen this?
Yes. So
did you sit and watch it with them?
Okay, so not my whole family. So my 3 siblings, my mom and my stepdad, my 2 stepsisters weren't at Sundance, but everyone else was. And they were sitting 2 rows behind me, and originally they wanted me to sit with them. And I was like, no, guys, I'm going to sit with the cast. You can do this on your own. But I kind of told my mom what was going to happen, but she's like a very vocal, when she deals with like something that's uncomfortable, she just goes, oh, like, shoo, like that sort of thing. And literally, like, when the sex scene happened, it was just like a yelp in the background. I was like, oh my God, stop. And then sort of like laughter. But I didn't really tell my brothers, and they're older than me. Like, it's weird. But we're all pretty open, but we have not addressed like that point blank since then. And my stepdad hasn't either, but everyone's kind of like cool with it. But yeah, it was like, I'm really nervous for my Nana to see it. I haven't.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's gonna be weird. Even the trailer, I'm like, I think there are 3 different like making out scenes, and I could just tell. I saw her like 2 weeks ago when I was home, and she just said like something about the trailer, but I could just feel. I was like, oh no, like she wants to say something about, or she's thinking about it. So I'm nervous for her to see it, and also just like people that I went. That I like knew when I was younger, just like seeing me have sex. That's almost weirder for me than like my relatives. It's like people that which sounds weird, but like in a movie, I don't know, it's so intimate and like, yeah, I'm nervous for people to see.
More nervous about that than them seeing you dance, huh?
Because the way that the dance was cut, I don't think you can like. It kind of just seems like I'm moving my shoulders or something. But if they were there, watching it being filmed, it would have been one of the most embarrassing moments.
You just tell them to concentrate on the drunken pool scene.
Yeah. I'm gonna like take them all out of the theater for the dance scene or something, and then bring them back.
See, you know, that's what you can do. You can do it for the sex scene, or pass out blindfolds to them, something like that.
I'm gonna have to monitor everyone that goes to this movie from my past. Yeah.
That's always the tough part.
Yeah, it is.
So now, what is the gift that acting gives to you? You've done theater. Now you've got your big feature film debut.
Yeah.
You're holding your own against Jenny Slate, Edie Falco, and John Turturro. This is no slouchy first film here.
No.
So, you know, what is the gift that acting gives to you that pushes you forward?
I think it's totally changed throughout different moments in my life. I think when I was a kid, like one of the first things that I ever did was sing, and I was, you know, like walking around singing Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson. My dad really loved that music when I was like a baby. So when I was 3, I was just like fascinated with putting on a different voice and costumes and like performing for people. So I think when I was a kid, it was sort of a way, it was a way of like expressing myself, that I wasn't, and getting attention from these people and feeling like loved by it. I think that's what happened, you know, when I was like a toddler up until the age of 10. And then after that, I started getting more serious about it, and I was doing all the school plays. And now I'm in a really interesting period of my life where it's like acting, totally, even if I don't get the job, it's like just a total relief from everything else that I'm experiencing and everything, just that's going on in my life. Even if it's for like 5 minutes and I'm able to sit with a person, no matter how nervous I am that I'm in a casting, it's like I get to spend my whole day preparing for it and being this person, and it's literally like a way to move past whatever I'm dealing with. And I don't know what I would be doing without both of those two things. It would be very scary. Like, even if I was a doctor, I think I'd be performing for my patient, like singing to them, or like putting on skits, you know, like, and being weird about it, because it's so in me that I never even had to like question why or if I should keep doing it.
So what's next?
So I just heard that I'm not supposed to actually say, but that it's big, and that I think an announcement's going to be made in like a week or two. Whatever it is filmed in August. So
I know you've got Radium Girls is in post already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to do ADR, I think, when we go to New York in like a couple days.
So you're getting to do all this fun stuff now, ADR and all this stuff you don't do in theater.
No, but I do hope I can go back to theater someday. At least I'd really love to do like have you seen the musical Once? Or the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, like if they bring that back, I don't know if it's still on Broadway, if it ever like that's just totally something that is up my alley, I think.
I think you're going to find a happy medium between film and theater.
Yeah.
Once you get more of a footing with film,
you can.
I really think you're going to be able to navigate between the two, because you're that good, Abby.
Oh my God.
You really are.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Debbie. We love you.
I cannot wait for people to see you in this film, because I think once people see you in this film, the phone's going to ring a lot more.
I hope.
And that was. Do you have me turned back on, Brian?
Yeah, we are back.
Oh, we are back. Well, and now you can see she is a delight. Abby is fabulous. So for any fans of Abby Quinn, fans of Jenny Slate, Edie Falco, John Turturro, Landline opens this Friday, the 21st. And once you see Abby, she really wants people to tweet for her. She really is afraid nobody will ever want to use her Twitter account and send her tweets. So you can find her on Twitter at Abby Quinn, yeah, Yeah. So, and that's exactly what you'll be saying after you see her in Landline. As a moody, angsty teen, battling her mother, battling her sister, and then more or less consoling her older sister, Abby really runs the gamut, and she is somebody to put on your radar. She is a face to watch. I can't say enough about her talent as an actress, and as you can hear, she's a pure delight as a wonderful young lady. So I can't wait to talk to her again in the future. And yes, right now as we're doing this show, I think she is in New York doing the ADR for Radium Girls. So that's next on up to watch for her. So should we take a short break, Brian, while we're waiting for Mary Lou to call?
Sure, we can go ahead and go to break.
Why don't we do a short break while we're waiting for Mary Lou, and then we'll be back. And welcome back to Behind the Lens. And I am so excited right now to introduce the wonderful, marvelous Mary Lou Henner.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh my
gosh.
You know, in 29 years, I have never had a chance to interview you, Mary Lou, so this is a huge thrill for me.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. I love it so much.
Oh, I fell in love with this movie, Imperfections. But I have to say, you know, Imperfections belies the quality of the film.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a play on the words because the people are like somewhat imperfect, and then of course it's kind of like about a diamond person, you know, it takes place in the jewelry district of Chicago because she's the girl who carries the jewels from one place to another because you can't have a Brinks truck because they get robbed, you know.
Yeah, so, she's the little schlepper.
Yeah, she's great, the little schlepper. Yeah.
Oh my!
It's great.
But Imperfections, you know, and of course, noticeable also with anybody that knows jewelry and gems out there. None of the diamonds that we ever see are referenced within the film itself. They're all flawless. None of them have any imperfections.
Well, you know, you don't want to give too much of the plot away.
No.
But it's got so many great characters. I mean, you know, Virginia Cull is just fabulous as the main girl, and of course Zach McGowan. Oh my gosh, he is a star. He's so great.
Oh my God, let's have him. Let's let him stay on screen so that we can all just look at him.
I know. Oh, right. He's got crazy, rabid fans. Oh, my gosh. They follow me on Twitter now because I said some nice things about him and because I just love him. And you could just, you know, do a whole movie of just looking at him with his shirt off. And he's like the nicest family man with these beautiful little children and a fabulous wife. And you're in love with him. You're just in love with him.
Well, and his character within the film, because you play a character named Val. You're the mother to Virginia Cull's Cassidy. You know, and mothers out there can definitely relate to your character and the frustration with a daughter who she wants to be an actress, but she's not going to be an actress and she really needs to get a career. But in the meantime, mom takes pity and it's like, you can stay here with me. And then we've got your love interest is Ed Begley Jr., who's
fantastic, and I've known him for years. So we've worked together before, and just felt so good about working together on this as well.
And to see the two of you on screen together, we don't get a lot of scenes with you and Ed, but the ones we have, there is a comfort there. There is an ease, and it really plays into your character and her stage in life and what she's looking for. And I have to say,
oh yeah, absolutely.
The look on your face in the kitchen scene where he's doing one household repair for you, and it's like, the light bulb's out in the bathroom and I can't reach it. He's like, oh, let's take care of everything tonight. And the look on your face was so priceless in that scene.
Thank you. It's so funny. I'm so glad you mentioned that scene because it was originally written to be where we're sitting and eating dinner. And I said, she's got a man in her house for the first time in a long time. And it's like, oh my gosh, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's like I wanted it to be make a statement about where they were. And I'm so glad you noticed that, because that was my little suggestion. And David was like, yeah, let's do that.
That added so much to the relationship without wasting anything on exposition. It was so natural, and it was a perfect follow-through, as I said, to later dialogue from you where Val's explaining to Cassidy about what you want in life, and where you get to a certain point in life, and you're not looking for the prince riding in on the white horse. You want companionship and friendship and somebody to change those light bulbs for you.
Right. Absolutely. No, I loved the mother and daughter relationship so much. You could tell she was a single mom who raised her for a while, and I just felt like there was so much texture. And I got to tell you, David Singer is just not only a brilliant director, and writer, but how about the music in the film? It's so wonderful. He wrote all the music.
I mean, he is, and he keeps the music very light. He has a lovely little lilt to a lot of it that underscores and that there is a lightness, especially with Val and Cassidy, and when Ray pops up. We lose some of the lightness in the scenes in the Diamond District as we see Ed's character, Barry, interacting with his son, Alex, played by Ashton Holmes. And we don't really have any score there. But there's a lot more score with Val and Cassidy.
Mm-hmm. And I love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies I've done. I've done 46 films, and this is definitely my top 3. I loved it.
I mean, I love seeing you in it, what you bring to it. Thank you. I love seeing you in this even more than I love watching you in your Ida Tea Garden Mysteries.
Oh, yeah, those are fun. I have a blast with those too, and they're, Hallmark's a great company and great people, and of course playing Candace Cameron Bure's mom, I love her. So how
does it feel for you now you have all these mom roles, and of course you're a mom to 2 sons.
Right.
And somehow you're ending up with all these daughters.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? Well, I played the mother of boys a couple times, of sons a couple times, but mostly daughters. I think people are so fascinated by the mother-daughter relationship in their own lives and within their own families that it seems like I'm always playing the moms. I've got like a whole list of TV and movie daughters that I've worked with. It's kind of cool.
Is there a difference in how you approach mothering a daughter on screen than how you approach mothering a son?
Well, I mean, I think with when mothering a son, I think women tend to let their sons get away with a lot more, and so there's something about that kind of like overly affectionate or overly protective. Whereas with a daughter, you're a little bit more combative and a little bit more like, honey, let me tell you how it is in life, that kind of thing. So, wait, let me ask you something. Is this an okay connection? Because I'm hearing like a little static, or do I sound okay to you guys?
You sound fine, and my sound engineer, Brian, is giving you a thumbs up, so.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No,
okay.
You sound absolutely fabulous. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So,
I'm so glad.
How did this project for Imperfections come to you, MARILU? Because
it's interesting. David wrote it, and he offered it to me. I mean, he just, said, I guess the casting directors put my name on a list, and he said, oh, let's see if we can get her. She's my number one choice. And they sent me the script, and I said, oh my gosh, I love this character. I love that it shoots in Chicago. That's my hometown, and I've never shot a film there.
You're kidding. In all this time, you've never shot a film in Chicago?
First time ever. I know. I've done plays there. Been there a couple times with plays, but I've never done a movie there.
And of course,
even a television show.
And of course, down on Jewelers Row, of all places.
Yeah, but you see so many great pieces of Chicago. The lake, and you see the L's tracks, and you see Sandburg Village, where my sister actually lived with her son. She was a single mom for many years, and we were practically in her apartment, like right, in the next building over.
I mean, that's one of the beautiful things also about this film that David and his cinematographer Drew Weddy do, is they really show us not the standard canned images that we see of Chicago. Really showed us some beautiful architecture and beautiful parts of the city that we don't normally get to see.
Right. No, I love it. I loved the way they shot the film. And it's funny, if you talk to David, he says, I don't know what I was thinking with my first movie, having over 30 speaking parts. Most times people limit the amount of people, but he really fills it out with all these great character actors and all these little scenes and stuff, and you get the real texture of the people.
I'm curious because of your television and film work, and you've worked with first-time directors, seasoned veterans, and now you've got David, his first feature. What was the experience like working with him as a first-time feature director?
Well, the thing that's great about David is, I divide the world not by men and women or by people who are, veterans and people who are novices. I divide the world by the big sisters and the big brothers and the little sisters and the little brothers.
Aww.
And David is definitely a big brother. So he's got a very strong points of view. He knew what he wanted. He was, very hands-on in terms of the script, of course, the music and the whole tone of the film, but it was so built in. I mean, I felt such a connection to this character that I didn't feel, I'm going to fight with my director on it. We were very much in sync, and so it was just a joy from day one.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that a rarity anymore, to be that in sync with a director? Or do you try and just shy away from projects where you even get a sense that might happen?
No, I mean, I love acting, and I love doing all the other things I do, from writing and developing projects and stuff, and speaking all over the country. I look for the character. Is the character something that I really, can connect with, and is there something about it that I want to say? And I look at the relationship to the other characters in the script.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I'm still trying.
And it really spoke to me.
I'm still trying to figure out how you find the time to do everything that you do.
I don't sleep a lot. I'm like a 5.5, 6 hour a night kind of person.
I mean, over the year, I don't think there has ever been a time in your life where you have been idle.
I know. It's, I guess, I find those little pockets of things that I really enjoy. People say, well, when are you going to have a vacation? It's like, well, I went to the farmer's market the other day. That felt like a vacation day. I'm having 20 people over for dinner. I went to the farmer's market. But no, I love what I do. I love my family so much. So whenever I can spend time with them, I mean, I do, of course. I have my 2 boys. They're in the world now. I mean, I have a rising senior at Northwestern, so he's in Chicago. And actually, when I was shooting the movie, his buddies were on the set a lot, and we all went to dinner a few times during the shooting days. Yeah, it was great. And I get to Chicago a lot, and I get to New York a lot, too. My other son graduated from Columbia last year, and he's already working in the industry. He just directed a music video, and he also worked on a Netflix series called Godless, which will be out soon.
Oh.
6-part Western.
And
so he wants to be a director.
Any chance that you'll have your son directing you anytime soon?
Oh, I hope so. I did actually an off-Broadway play that he directed, written by one of his friends. And so, yeah, I mean, and I did a little video for him. So, yeah, I mean, it's funny working with your kids. It's like, oh my gosh, they're old enough to do these things now. It's incredible.
Yes, but now, do they still give you paychecks?
No, I've never been paid to work with my kids. just in pride. My paycheck is pride.
Oh my! Well, something else you should be very proud about, MARILU, is all of your books you've written, especially your last one.
Oh, thank you.
I saw you on so many talk shows talking about the book, and then I read parts of it because I was just so enamored and so enthralled with the journey that you went on with Michael, and just absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really proud of that book. That was my 10th book. It's called Changing Normal, How I Helped My Husband Beat Cancer, and it's the whole story of how Michael and I reconnected. We knew each other in college at the University of Chicago. We met as freshmen. He was my roommate's boyfriend. And, we didn't dare twinkle in each other's direction. But then years later ran into each other when I was getting married in a courthouse in New Orleans. And it's just like twists of fate. We were ships passing and then reconnected 14 and a half years ago. He called me out of nowhere after my second divorce was final and we got together. Within a week, we're saying, "I love you. You're the love of my life. I'm spending the rest of my life with you." And 2 months later, he was diagnosed with 2 cancers, bladder cancer and lung cancer. So the book is really the journey that we went through and brought him back to health, really. And he did it without, he did, complementary therapies. He did immunotherapy. He didn't do chemo, radiation. They were telling him that he had to have his bladder cut out and lose his prostate as well and everything else. And we said, let's try a different way. And he's in remission now, 13 and a half years, almost 14 years.
Wow.
So pretty amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
and he's still the love of my life. Although the hardest thing we went through was writing the book together. I always make jokes that curing his cancer was easier than writing the book with him. So,
what made writing the book so difficult? Was it reliving
I guess
it,
because
or?
We have very different writing styles. He writes like he writes like a writer, no question about it. He's very well read, and he reads all the time, and he's very he was writing Old Man and the Sea, and I was writing more like a how-to, and I write like a speaker because I do a lot of speaking, so I'm always conscious of the reader's ear, like as if I'm talking to them and trying to take them on this journey, And he would, and I'm very, because of my unusual memory, I do things, I don't want to say in a very linear way, but I think in a linear way in terms of like revealing a story, like the clock ticking a certain way, and there's a pace to it, and there's a chronology to it. Whereas Michael would have these beautiful tangents, but they had nothing to do with the book. And I'd say, "Okay, we've lost our reader here. Get back. Come on back." So.
Well, and I mean, I still have sitting in my house. I have Healthy Life Kitchen that I've had for years.
That's one of my favorite books.
And one thing, I love how you write because you do write conversationally.
Yeah.
So it is.
I like that.
It is like somebody is sitting there talking to you as you're reading, and then you see these great recipes, and everything is simple, and everything makes sense. When you write, everything makes sense.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I particularly love that book because it was way ahead of its time in terms of like exposing people to certain foods. And I literally went and spent 3.5 hours in Whole Foods with a little tape recorder going shelf by shelf describing the best products for you to, use for these recipes. So, and there's a whole code system with it, and it was a lot of fun. We had a team. We tried over 300 recipes, and it was fantastic. It was like that was the most fun book to write because, there were so many. It was very PC and mathy in a way because it's recipes, but it was a blast to work on.
And of course, you got to sample everything that you were cooking.
Of course. So we'd all take turns. We'd bring in like 20 recipes a day because we wrote it so quickly. We wrote that book, believe it or not, in 6.5 weeks.
Oh my God!
That book was written in 6.5 weeks. It's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So how much weight did you gain?
So you can imagine, like, the team would come in and say, "Okay, let's all, try this. Let's try this recipe. We're going to make desserts today." And it was like, "Oh my God, 20 desserts to sample." Because and it's a lot of fun, that book. I'm so glad you mentioned that book. That's definitely one of my faves.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that book. I mean, that is when I'm looking for something special to make for myself, or I'm not quite sure what I want. That is the book I will pull out and look through.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It has gotten a lot of views.
We decided to do it too. Like I decided to do it like a little Zagat guide because I said one chef hat means it's really easy. 3 means it's a little more complicated. The different color code and stuff, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun to work on. I love
that book.
Thank you.
But now, with everything that you do, MARILU, with the writing, with the speaking, talk shows, hosting radio, television, film, is there any one thing, Broadway, is there any one thing that you are more drawn to than the other?
Well, first of all, I love performing live. I love it. I do a club act. I'm doing it all over the country. I'm about to do it in LA in October, and in New York right after that. I love performing live. I love, being on stage and Broadway and things like that. But I love it all. I love acting for the camera too because it's so subtle, so much more subtle, and there's always that amazing challenge of You've got to like get your, you've got to get somebody who you've got to do it in a believable way, but you have to hit your mark, and you have to, and there's so many choices. So, and your best one could end up on the cutting room floor because the light wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's things like that. So I like the challenge of that. And I love writing. I love writing. I love speaking. I love it all. Okay, what can I tell you? I'm a girl from the Midwest who likes to do it all.
And, of course, I would be remiss not to mention Dancing with the Stars. I mean,
my gosh.
You didn't have a chance to have anything land on the cutting room floor there.
No, it's live, and it's an interesting process because you're always mic'd. There's always a camera on you, and there's so many things that do happen in rehearsal that you think like, oh, why didn't they show that, or why didn't they show that, But so you do have some cutting room floor. But in terms of out there in the competition, it's funny. I realized a lot about myself during that process because I think of myself as I'm definitely a competitive person on game night, but in terms of like any kind of physical feat, I never had to compete in a physical way, and so for me it was more like a personal best thing, But it's funny. You enter. I mean, it is like you're in lockdown because you don't get a day off unless you ask for one, and of course you don't want one, and so the rest of the time you are just so focused on getting the job done and learning as much as you can and practicing as much as you can. So.
Well, I'm happy to say that you got all my votes every single week until you got voted off.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I made it was like made it through week 9, and then was off for a week. Visited my son who was shooting that Netflix series in Santa Fe, and then came back for the finale. So it was great. It was a great journey, and I was very grateful for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I just thought you were so entertaining. Watching you was so entertaining. Yeah, and that's something.
There's always something going on.
Well, and I think that it speaks volumes because everybody expects the youngsters to perform really well. The young talents and all. But when you get people that have a little more life experience behind them, I think it surprises everybody that, hey, we're over 50, we can do something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. It's so funny because I just always feel like me. People would say, well, are you? I go, yeah, I just feel like me. It's just the way it is. I don't think of it as, I never think about getting old or age or anything. That's so not the way I live, and it's like, and you know what else though? I'll tell you, I think a lot of it has to do with feeling healthy. My parents both died in their 50s. My father died at 52 of a heart attack, and my mother died at 58 of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Her body was ravaged by rheumatoid arthritis. She was a dancing teacher. They couldn't even say this on Dancing with the Stars. They did talk about the fact that she passed away. But my mother was literally teaching dancing in December, went to bed with the flu in January. It was a brutal Chicago winter, so she went into the hospital in February. She had her leg amputated in April, and she died in May.
Oh, my God.
So within 5 months, within 4 months, she was teaching dancing and had her leg amputated, which is horrible, a horrible way for a dancer to go out.
Oh.
So, I got into health after my mom died. After my father died, I put on a lot of weight. I ate my feelings. And after my mother died, I said, it's not about my weight, it's about my health. And I just became this obsessed student of health. And I did everything from go to medical libraries and doctors and nutritionists and the Bodhi Tree out here in Los Angeles, a kind of alternative bookstore. I took human anatomy classes eventually at UCLA, and I learned everything I could about the human body and experimented on myself and my brothers and sisters. And we've all outlived our parents now. We've all outlived our parents, and we're all in good health, so not good. That's,
well,
I know that was not the path we were headed on.
And I have to say that I think you look and act more fabulous now and younger now than you did back at the height of your career with Taxi and Evening Shade. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, the great thing about health, the great thing is that every day you get better when you're healthy. So time is really on your side. You know what I'm saying? If you start a healthy habit today, in a year, you're going to be even healthier than you are today. And look, that's a whole year of your life.
Yeah.
And if you keep incorporating these little things along the way, it makes such a difference. So
Well,
I feel good. I feel great. I'm with the love of my life. My boys are thriving. I have a fabulous extended family, and I love what I do work-wise.
And you have
and I'm talking to you.
And please, you have a wonderful new film coming out. That's
I'm so excited.
I am. Yeah. It actually comes out next week on the 28th?
28th. July 28th, Friday, July 28th. It's in 10 cities all over the country and adding more. And it's just the feedback has been amazing. The reviews have been great. It's been a festival darling, and now we get to share it with the world, and I'm so happy.
And you're having a small premiere on the 27th at the Laemmle Monica.
Yes. So I hope that everybody comes, and I'm excited because my family hasn't really seen. My husband has, but my boys haven't.
So they're going to come to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I actually think that I am going to be there for the premiere on Thursday. It's either be there, or ironically, they're having the first annual Earth Focus Environmental Film Festival kicks off at Paramount at the same time. Ed is one of the hosts of that festival, but he apparently is not going to be at the festival opening night. He's going to be at the premiere of your film, and then he's got a whole day next Saturday during the Earth Focus Film Festival. So
cool. That's great. Yeah, it's also a Hallmark night. They're doing Hallmark for TCA that night too.
Oh.
So it's just a busy time of year. I know, because otherwise Candace would come, but she's got to go to the Hallmark thing.
Well, unfortunately, we are almost all out of time today, MARILU. This has been
okay. Well, we'll have to do this again. This is so much fun.
Oh, we have to. Definitely. We should do it again when you're getting ready for your show.
Okay, great.
Your live
we'll
show.
do it in October. Excellent.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Okay.
MARILU, thank you so much. And again, everybody, see MARILU in this fabulous new film, Imperfections. And it is anything but. It is a perfect little darling film.
It's so great. I'm so proud of it, and I just think everybody in it is wonderful. It's just like this little gem.
It is.
It is.
Thank you, MARILU, and hopefully I'll see you next Thursday night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. You got it. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And that was MARILU Henner. The film is Imperfections. It's in theaters next Friday, July the 28th. The premiere is Thursday the 27th at the Laemmle Santa Monica. So if you're in Santa Monica, come on out and watch a lovely little red carpet with MARILU and Zach McGowan and Ed Begley Jr. That is all the time we have today. Ed Begley Jr. will be with us next week, along with some other lovely individuals. And until then, I'm Debbie Elias. This is Behind the Lens.